wanted to buy something really big for our cat Pip to climb on. However, we did not have a lot of floor space because we lived in an apartment, and I typically don't like the aesthetic of things that you can buy. So I was really inspired by all of these wall shelves that I've seen online for cats, and I wanted to make my own version. The very first thing that I did was map out an idea for myself on my computer, and I did this in Revit for anyone who's wondering. I learned it while I was in school, and I showed my idea to Dylan, and he decided that he wanted to do it right away and not wait for me because he was so excited, so he did this project solo. But let's talk about the tools that you will need if you want to try out this project for yourself. Starting off with the absolute necessaries that you will need is definitely wood. You can buy the wood at any size that you want, just make sure that it is strong wood and that it's deep enough for your cat to use. If you don't have something to cut your wood with, you can also ask them to do that at the hardware store. The next absolutely necessary part is something for your cat to grip onto, so we chose carpet for this. You could totally use like rope or something like that, but we just preferred the aesthetic of a carpet. Assuming that you choose carpet just like we did, you will need a really strong adhesive to apply the carpet to the wood, and in addition to that, you'll want some nails that have a head to them just to make sure that the carpet really stays in place. And the last very necessary item is obviously brackets to attach it to the wall. The ones that we got can hold up to 55 pounds, and that is way more than she weighs, so it's definitely safe for her, but you want to make sure that the brackets that you use and the way that you're attaching them to the wall is definitely safe. So if you have wooden studs in your wall, make sure to use those, and if you don't have any wooden studs, then use very heavy duty anchors. Moving on to the supplies that are not entirely necessary but you might want to use them, we used some spray paint to spray paint our brackets gold to match the rest of our apartment, and we also stained our wood to match our apartment as well, so we used a pre-stain and also a stain for this, and you can also use a sealant if you want to. And because we're extra, we used some leftover paint that we already had and we painted on the wall as well to give some extra life to the design, but obviously not necessary. So let's get into how we built the structure. So first things first, Dylan cut the wood to size. We cut our pieces to 1 foot and 4 inches long, if you're wondering what we did. The wood pieces that we used were pine, and they were about 1 foot deep. We also opted to make the top perch a little bit deeper than the rest of the shelves, just because we knew that she would be hanging out there the most, so we wanted to give her as much space as possible there to like lounge. So obviously that's optional as well. From our scrap wood, Dylan cut these like little short pieces that we're using as walls for the top perch as well. This just ensures that she won't fall off if she sleeps up there. Once all of the wood is cut, you'll want to make sure that you sand down all of the edges so that there's nothing that's rough. Then if you want to stain the wood that you have, this is the time to do so. You'll want to make sure to use some pre-stain first. This will keep the stain from going on patchy. Just make sure that you leave one of the sides completely bare because you don't want the stain where you're going to be putting the glue for the carpet. Having the stain there will keep the glue from working as good as it can, so you just want it to be the bare wood. Then it is time to add your carpets. You're going to want to grab the carpet that you got and you're going to cut pieces that are almost the same size as your wood, but a little bit bigger so you can trim it to be exact. You will want to use your spray adhesive on the blank side of your wood and also use some of it on the piece of carpet itself. You can use a foam brush everywhere just to make sure that the glue is spread out, and then when you put the carpet down onto the wood, you can use a roller to make sure that it's pressed down everywhere. Once it is completely dry, which we let ours dry overnight, you can flip it over and then cut off any of the excess with a blade. This will ensure that the edges are perfectly clean and you don't have to like guess about it. Now we wanted some carpet on the inside of the walls for the perch as well, so what we did was we taped off the area that would be covered by the wood perch itself, if that makes sense, and then we just applied the carpet to that little bare space of wood that's not taped off. That way when you put the wood pieces together, there's not going to be carpet interfering. Once all of the shelves and the walls are dried and cut down, then you can take some nails that have little heads on them and add that to the carpet as well. This will just give you that extra hold because you don't want to only trust the adhesive on this, even though it is a really strong adhesive. You don't want to worry that for some reason the carpet will come off and your cat will fall. Now Dylan actually went in some areas and used a flame to make sure that the carpet didn't freeze spray in certain areas, so that is also an option if you want to try that. Then it is time to add the little walls to the top Perch shelf. So in order to do that, you'll want to use some glue first just to make sure that it's really stuck on there, and then you can just add some nails or screws to make sure that it's really in place. And once all of that is done, it is time to put everything on the wall. So where you put the shelves on the wall is very personal to the size of your cat, so we ended up doing it one by one. We would mark where we wanted the bottom shelf, and then we would install it, and then we would actually put her on the shelf and put like another one up above and see if it was the right distance for her to be able to jump. That ended up working really well for us, so I definitely recommend that method if you have a cat who's willing to cooperate. You will also want to make sure that the angle of your shelves, if you put them on an angle like we did, is exactly the same, so we just used our phone to do that. So the brackets that we got can hold 55 pounds, which is awesome. She's obviously not 55 pounds, but it just makes me feel really safe letting her be on the shelves. We ended up sanding down our brackets and spray painting them gold. I just prefer gold over the black personally. And we also spray painted the C-straps that attach the brackets to the wood, just so that everything matches. We used some really heavy duty anchors to attach our brackets to the wall because we have steel studs, so we didn't have wood studs to go into. And then of course, once the brackets are on, you put the wood on top and you attach that to the bracket. And they are very strong, trust me. I am very paranoid about this type of thing, and that is why we have put it off for so long. I have been just so nervous about her falling, but honestly, she's a cat. She knows what she's doing. She literally loves to climb, and she's always trying to climb on things, so having a place like this where she can actually be meant to climb is a really good idea. And of course, she loves it. Ever since we've built it, she has not come down. She is always climbing up there so that she can see in our mirror and watch us and be above us, and she just loves it so much. So I would say this was a very successful DIY. Now we have a little cat corner with the TV stand and everything that has the litter box in it. I hope you guys found this one helpful. There have been so many requests for cat DIYs, so I wanted to make sure you guys got what you wanted. I'll see you next Sunday for a brand new video. Bye guys.